All right, hello everyone. I'm Natalie PLAVEC and I'm a sophomore at NYU, as you can see by the screen. So a little bit about my Czech background. I was born and raised in Connecticut, but both of my parents are from the Czech Republic. They met together in medical school and then moved here in the 90s. And that was after the Velvet Revolution, as most of us know, and it was because they were kind of looking for a new opportunity since before then they weren't really allowed to travel outside of the country because of the communist government. And so when they came here, they were planning on staying for a couple years. That turned into they've been here for like over 20 years now, and I go to university here, and I was raised in Connecticut all my entire life. But I spent all of my summers in Czech Republic, and I grew up very immersed in Czech culture. My parents cooked Czech food. I was attending Czech elementary school every summer when I was there for a week just to kind of socialize with other Czech students. So technically, I'm a fifth grade graduate in the Czech language. And I also grew up watching a bunch of Czech movies. It was a huge part of my culture, probably more than American culture. And so there's just pictures of Connecticut and Prague. And then up there is also my twin sister, who has a very similar backstory to me. She's also presenting today. And then at the top, also my Czech friends who inspired me to kind of really stay motivated to it, who I met in America through an organization of expats living in DC who would organize a ski trip to Vermont every year, and my family would go with them. And I met them there. They live back in Czech Republic now, so we only see each other basically during the summers, but we are still in contact. And then also my parents up there. So I'm going to begin by talking about my hobbies because I feel like those really make me who I am. The first one I want to talk about is traveling. I love traveling. I spent my first semester of college in Greece, which is when I really got to travel all around Europe. And I really enjoyed immersing myself in foreign cultures and just being able to see how different countries function differently. As I'm going to talk about more later, I want to be a therapist in the future, and I think cultural immersion is very important for that because you're working with people of all different cultures who come from very different backgrounds. So that is something that I want to try to diversify my view of different cultures. And I want to take a gap year between my undergrad and grad school because I want to travel all around the world and try to immerse myself in as many cultures as I can so that I am a more successful therapist. And I'm also learning Spanish because I want to be a bilingual counselor, which is very ambitious. I'm still in beginner Spanish, but I'm hoping that I can make progress within that. And I also try to immerse myself in my Czech culture. I put a picture of my favorite Czech movie up there. And I also intern here at the Czech Center, so I work at events here. And I also read books in Czech because I grew up reading both Czech and English books. That's another one of my hobbies. I also love journaling, which I put up there because I think that's a very good method to kind of self-discover yourself, and I think it's a very good tool in mental health work, and that is something that I want to integrate into my work in the future as a therapist. And I also use it as creative expression because I do love art as well. And then I also love just being outdoors. I played tennis my entire life, and I also love camping, and I ski in the winter. So just a background on my education, I started my first year of undergrad at Northeastern, and I spent my first semester abroad in Greece. And that was really when I got the full cultural immersion other than Czech and American culture. And I volunteered at an orphanage when I was there, which was my true cultural immersion, I felt like, because we got to talk to kids who had grown up in Greece, basically only spoke Greek. And that really solidified my goal that I wanted to become a therapist working with people of different cultures. And then my next semester was at Boston, in the Boston campus of Northeastern, and there I worked at a bilingual elementary school where the teachers taught in both English and Spanish, and so that really motivated me to try to pursue Spanish in order to be able to counsel both in English and Spanish. And then I decided to transfer to NYU for many reasons. I didn't really love the psychology program at Northeastern, so I transferred to NYU, which is where I am now. I am an applied psychology major. I'm a sophomore currently, and my interests within the mental health field include adolescent mental health, effects of social media on mental health, and mental health outreach. I recently wrote a paper which was looking through the ways that women are disproportionately more negatively affected by social media than men are, specifically in terms of body image and self-esteem and things like that. And I want to do more research on that in the future. And I also want to participate in mental health outreach because I do think it's still a very stigmatized topic, even though it is becoming more talked about and almost trendy in some ways in today's culture. But I do want to be like something I want to do in my work in the future is to use social media to spread good messages of mental health and kind of satiate satiate social media with positive messages rather than messages that cause things like negative body image. And so this summer I will be doing an internship, which is it's a volunteer organization where you can kind of participate however you want in order to do your part to like spread the word about mental health awareness, because there are tons of people who don't have the proper resources. Therapy is expensive, therapists are hard to come by, so it kind of works to use other resources to do that. And so these are just my career goals for the future. I want to become a therapist, bilingual therapist, as I mentioned before. I want to conduct research at some point, focusing on social media or different cultural effects that affect mental health. And I also want to use social media, as I mentioned before, to increase mental health resources. And I kind of want to tie journaling into that because I think that's a very easy, accessible tool that everyone can do to kind of benefit your mental health without having to like pay for expensive therapy or do anything like that. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you.